I have this belief system that the antidotes are found in nature, that God is actually put in the world around us. And so what I've done is I've looked at studies, and I wanted to know, are there studies where they compared head to head in the scientific literature? We're not talking about in John's blog post or this or that. I go right to the scientific literature in the peer-reviewed scientific studies, and some of the major journals, like the Journal of the American Medical Association, they look, it's fascinating because it's not in the textbooks that the doctors will read about when they go to school, but it is in the same scientific journals that they read, that they trust. It's in there, but it never makes it to the hospital for what
Right.
guess what reason that might be. Some reason it's never makes it there in general, but in reality people are finding these things. And so we have a series called Scientific Herbs and Natural Remedies. That's the name of the series. So charcoal is probably number one. The second thing you can do, the second natural remedy, is a biblical natural remedy. You may remember that Jesus used a natural remedy one time for a blind man. What was that, Scott?
That was mud.
Yes, he picked some out of the ground, some texts call it clay, but he used basically the dust of the ground, something like clay. And they've done research specifically on a certain kind of clay that you can buy on Amazon. It's called sodium montmorillonite. And they have tested it specifically. And this is a pretty fascinating study, because a lot of times natural remedies, you don't have large scale studies. You'll have 20 people, 30 people, 50 people. That's a decent sized natural remedy study, maybe 100. But this study, they have 600 people, which is a pretty good size for a standard natural remedy. And they looked at sodium montmorillonite clay's ability to lower, there's a certain mold called aflatoxin. And this one, I'll bet you've tasted it. Scott, have you ever tasted like a rotten peanut?
I don't think I have.
No, you haven't.
I don't want to.
Okay. No,
don't tempt me.
Well, I'll tell you, I have bitten in, and there's just like this sour, nasty. One of the things that you can get from grains or nuts, if they mold, at least specifically, I know technically a peanut is not a nut. I understand that, but you can get from grains and things like peanuts, you can get a mold sometimes, and it doesn't mean it's on all kinds, but it's called aflatoxin, and it is a carcinogen. So it's a cancer-causing substance. And they did a study on sodium montmorillonite clay's ability to lower aflatoxin. That's on 600 people, and they used either 1.5 or 3 grams of the clay or a placebo. So this is a placebo-controlled study, and it turns out that either dose, 1.5 grams or 2 grams of this clay, successfully lowered aflatoxin levels compared to placebo. So that's another thing. And then people think, well, if it's sequestering things like mold, might it be lowering levels of vitamins and minerals in the body? Well, when they looked at it, in general, they found that it was not lowering minerals or vitamins like vitamin A, also things like iron and zinc. So it seems to be something that is not going to, take away healthy things from your body, but the clay may have the ability to grab hold of and get rid of things that your body doesn't need, or things that may be detrimental to your body. And
that's a sign of the creator right there, if I can just jump in. I mean, how did God make it so? Well, how did it just happen accidentally? God made it that the clay and the charcoal both do good things for you, but not bad things for you. They take away the bad. They don't take away the good from you.
There is one other one, which is quite simple, and it's very natural, once again, is chlorophyll. And you probably know chlorophyll it's the component in plants that helps give green plants their nice, dark, rich color. Something like kale or various things. Now, spinach would have it also, but you want to be careful with too much spinach. I mean, a little spinach here and there is fine, but you get too much of it and you can get too much of the oxalates. It's massively high. That could cause kidney stones if you overdo something like spinach. But you don't have very much of it in something like kale. And so kale, or you could just eat a lot of salad, but a way to get much more chlorophyll would be to juice. And so if you used a juicer and we're talking, I'm not saying everybody needs to juice all the time, but for those who maybe have been exposed to mold or they've got some health issues, it might be well for them for a time to try some green juice to really expel some of those toxins